It is truly, it's such a cliche, but a little bit, and the kids on the team know I'm never one to be speechless, but I'm a little bit speechless. It's an interesting, in terms of the poetic romance. I think they had 4 super seniors on their team, and we had 4 or 5 freshmen on our team. And so it really was pitting, I guess, youth against experience. And anyone that watched that match, I mean, the doubles point was a odyssey in of itself. We were, I think if I'm right, saved 2 match points at number 1 doubles, only then to win number 1 and 3 very quickly. And anyone that watched the match, I mean, there was just so little between the 2 teams, and that our freshmen, who it came down to in the end in Peyton and in Lulu, were able to come up with the goods is truly remarkable.
So we'll go ahead and open it up to some questions. We'll start with Brian, and then Chip, and then Terry.
Yeah, Coach, congratulations. Just a great night for the sport as well, I would think. But I wanted, you could sense probably that Pepperdine was getting their feet together and starting to surge a little bit. What were you telling the girls, especially before Peyton got hot on her roll in the second? Did you just feel like, hey, this group's we got to pick it up?
We've talked a number of times this week about the degree to which a lot of our matches, even in this tournament leading up to this match, were pretty lopsided. And so I knew going into this match it was going to be extremely close and contentious. And so when the singles started, I think that's sort of what your question references. I think we lost 4 of the first 6 sets and won 2 of them. And in a funny way, I felt just in my internal head, I had some pretty good poise, because I knew I didn't know that Lulu wasn't going to win in 2 sets. I felt like Lulu and Charlotte were going to win in 2 sets, which gets us to 3. And then one of those 4 matches we needed to turn around. And to the other part of your question, what I said, Miss Stearns to my right over here was actually playing, in my view, you can ask her, but very, very good tennis in the first set. The first game was a deuce game where she had 3 game points. The second game, 2 game points, a deuce game, and the third game, a deuce. So the scoreboard wasn't terribly favorable, but the tennis, what was happening on the court, looked favorable to me. And so my message to Peyton was just, and Peyton talked about it last time she visited here, is just to have her internal coach not be critical, like, oh, I'm down on the scoreboard. Her internal coach to be kind and compassionate to herself, because I knew that match would turn. Because the tennis, in my view, was favoring Peyton, and it turned very quickly in the second set.
And then just to follow up and to ask the obvious question, it's one thing to expect a national title, but to get there and actually win it, especially the way that you did, the way that the team did, just, how do you describe the emotions and what it all means?
In a way, when Lulu won the final point, it was a little bit of disbelief, elation and disbelief, because as your question suggests, you can throw together 6 of the best players out there in the country, and you just guaranteed nothing. Certainly North Carolina were probably the favorite. They had a 48-match win streak going into yesterday. And so you just never guaranteed anything. I just had a good sense that, and again, this is not a scientific word, but the juju of this team was very good. And I felt like one way or the other we'd get over the line today. But the idea that we'd actually get to the final with the obstacles and the difficulty and the inexperience, it really is a pretty remarkable dream, really.
couple questions for Peyton in before we bring Lulu. So we go to Chip and then Terry.
Yeah, Peyton, how did a team with 5 freshmen in the singles lineup and 2 of the doubles teams made up entirely of freshmen win the national championship and have this incredible season?
I mean, it's no shock. We're all good players, and I think we all have the right mindsets out on court. You know, we could be playing a sophomore, junior, senior, fifth-year return, and, you know, we have the same goal in mind. And I think that's what we had out there. You know, I don't think any of us thought about who we were playing. We just focused on ourselves and brought what we could to the table today.
How satisfying is it to have this Fab 5 freshman, you know, go all the way?
I mean, it's great. Anyone on the team plays today, though, we would be extremely happy just anyway anyone plays. I mean, yeah, having 5 freshmen in the lineup, it's really cool because, you know, next year we're gaining, you know, 2 more freshmen, the twins, and we can accomplish this again.
All right, we'll go to Terry and then Alex for the last 2 questions for Peyton.
Well, gosh, congratulations to both of you. This was unbelievable. So yesterday, Coach, Peyton talked about how you like to talk in analogies. So I've been working on this question all day, knowing that you would win. So if you would treat us with finishing this statement, representing the University of Texas women's tennis, winning the NCAA championship is like.
I'll let Peyton have a crack at that one.
I'm not the analogy expert. No, I'm going to pass it back.
Wow, I'm sorry. I'm a little overcome with emotion. So winning the NCAA championship with this team, you know what? I'm going to do an analogy for Peyton, which may not be passé with the NCAA, but like slipping and falling into an unlimited amount of Grader's ice cream. She's from Cincinnati, Ohio, and that's the ice cream store. That's all she speaks about. So I'm going to say it's like slipping and landing up in a tub of chocolate chip Grader's ice cream for Peyton.
Yes.
All right.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Alex for one more question with Peyton.
Awesome, and congratulations to you both. Peyton, I know Coach referenced 15 cute guys in his post-match press conference on court, and you probably wanted to slap him in the face after that, but sincerely, when you're playing someone like Ashley Leahy, fifth-year senior, she's been #1 in the country, how helpful is it for you to have the Texas men's team and that crowd on your side, and then ultimately, what were the tactical shifts that allowed you to take those last 2 sets? I know there was like 4 deuce games in the first 4 games of that third.
You know, having the guys here is amazing. You know, just the extra support from them on the sidelines kind of got me going there in the second set. I could have easily went away. And thanks to Howard helping me, you know, flip it and be like, you know, I can turn this match around real quick because I lost the 3 deuce points in the beginning of the first set. And, you know, the guys were right there cheering me on. Same with the fans up in the crowd. You know, it got me going. Like, I was like, I want to win for Texas, and they were there helping me push me along the whole time. And sorry, what was the second question?
No, just again, tactically, what made the shift? I know those 4 deuce games, there were 4 deuce games to start the third. To get 3 of them on your side, how critical was that?
I think it was very critical. You know, in the third set, the first deuce point, I kind of thought back to the first set, and I was like, you know, I really have to lock down, and I'm not going to give her this point. I'm going to make her earn it if she's going to win it. And that's exactly what I did the whole third set. You know, any chance I got, 40-15, 40-30 or deuce, you know, I tried to buckle down the best I could and just not give it to her. I was going to make her earn her way into this match.
Well, you were fantastic. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Amen to that.
All right,
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. If I made it, Coach, I think the low-hanging fruit, by the way, from the analogy was winning the championship is like marrying your wife, as you mentioned
Yes.
earlier. But To your point, and you mentioned this, I think, in your earlier answer, to have a freshman in Lulu Sun, and honestly a freshman in Pascagoula as well, play that quality of tennis in a third set, 3-all decider for the national championship. You know, I know you have your coaching hat on, but as a fan as well, what did you think of the quality, and ultimately what allowed, what did you think of Lulu's performance?
Lulu, it was really one for the ages because obviously for the last 20 years I watched college tennis matches, and invariably what ends up happening is as the pressure builds and becomes more and more difficult, players wilt under that pressure, start to make more errors, and it perhaps becomes lopsided. And it was just the opposite, as your question would suggest. As they went into the third set, Lulu opened up with a barrage of winners, only for Thaisa to come back with a barrage of winners. The level of performance seemed to just get greater and greater throughout the match. And I really, terrible cliche, but hats off to Thaisa Pachliakeva, because she's a freshman and Lulu hit her with everything, and all she did was come back and back and back. And, on the other side of the net was Lulu Sun. And, you'd need to obviously ask Lulu the questions, but Lulu was stretched and many, many questions were asked of Lulu tonight, and she answered them all. And that's why Texas has this trophy right here.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you both, and
Thanks.
well-deserved title.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, Colette and then Arthur.
Hi, congratulations to all of Texas. I'm sure everybody in Austin is extremely happy for all of you.
Thanks.
I wondered, Coach, if you would talk a little bit about Charlotte because of the position she was in at the indoor and how it did not go well for her in that, and if you could see the growth from her in today's match.
Colette, again, not my job, but excellent question. So pardon me becoming a journalistic critique man. Yes, at the national indoors, Charlotte, had some problems, unraveled a little bit, and another a player or two, so it certainly wasn't all on Charlotte. But our team met after that and just sort of discussed, what was the failing, if you want to call it that. And each lady spoke, and the consensus was nothing to do with the tennis, all just to do with, whatever the cheap word is, poise, And the theme, if you will, the thing that I've been gesticulating over the course of the year is this idea of growth. I think Charlotte, if I just call it as it is, struggled a little with herself in the doubles point. But in the singles, she played Shishi, I know her by her nickname, who was a top 10 player in college for Ohio State and now Pepperdine, who's won, I think, all her matches at this tournament. And Charlotte didn't flinch, and she is, truly the heart and soul. She's such a joyous character and person. She's the heart and soul of our team, and so just to see her get another point on the board for us was fantastic. But I would say, last thing is that all our freshmen as people have grown, and I think that's why tonight, latently, in a funny way, it helps the tennis. They had the poise to get the job done against an incredibly tough and surging Pepperdine team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lulu, congratulations, and congratulations to both of you on an incredible match. I'm curious, as it gets down to just your court, Lulu, did you allow yourself to think that you're playing one set or a few games for the national championship, or did you kind of block that out and just keep it out of your mind at that point?
Do you mean at the third set?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, once it came down to you and you were the last match on.
Honestly, at the end, I was almost gonna cramp, so I was just like survive the last few games and just throw everything I have, and I guess it worked. So.
And Coach, your dialogue during that third set, can you just take us a little bit inside what that was like? Was it tactical? Was it mostly just mental and emotional support? What was that like in between points?
I think you obviously watch the match, and all these players are so good and so skilled, and they know the plays and so on. And so really what it comes down to is sort of, as I always say to the girls, this. And so I was doing my best with Lulu. As I've discussed before, we work with a performance coach, so just know what some of the soft spots are, the areas. All of us, even the casual Sunday golfer, right, has an internal voice which is, oh, here you go again, you're getting a 9 on a par 3 and, you didn't clean your room. Or we have an angry child inside of us, who smashes the golf club and all of that. And so all human beings are the same. And so I just try to tap into what I believed, hopefully, Lulu would be able to, what would give her that energy. Do you think it worked?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, not a lot tactically. I mean, in terms of the tennis, the X's and O's, the thing that was obvious was Lulu, her style of play is very aggressive, and so I was encouraging her in the third set to really put her foot on the gas, go for the winners, keep the points shorter. And in a funny way, I would imagine it was the same thing for Pepperdine, because their young lady was also going after it. So it was two of them hitting a lot of winners on each other down the stretch.
Thanks, and Coach, thanks for your thoughtful and colorful answers all week. Made these very entertaining for us over here.
Thank you.
And then we'll circle back to Brian and then Chip.
Hey Lulu, I kind of piggybacking on what Coach was saying there about the mental game of all of this. How important was it to stay in the moment, even though all eyes were on you, to stay aggressive, play defense when you had to, even call for rulings at times?
I think it was very important because if I let it go at any moment, I mean, at 3-all, 40-all, that was a really important part of the last set. And so I think if I let it go, it wouldn't have turned the way it did. So I was just trying to stay focused and listen to Howard's advice.
Mm-hmm. And when it was over, you looked spent. What is it like getting mobbed at what is essentially center court at that point for a national title?
It's pretty heavy. Not gonna lie. I was trying to stay on my feet. Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chip, do you have a question again?
Yeah, Lulu, what were you telling yourself in that third set? Where did you feel like you had the advantage? Looked like maybe you were the fresher player. Where did you see your advantage? And obviously, it's coming down to your match. So what was that feeling like?
I know we were both tired at the end, but I knew that if I kept being aggressive, I would have the upper hand, especially if I used my forehand. So I just kept thinking, do your game, focus on this moment, and I just kept going like that throughout the whole set.
And just knowing that it's coming down to your match, how do you, balance that with everything else?
Honestly, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking, it was kind of like, I didn't hear the crowd. It was just me and Howard and the girl. So that was my focus, and with that, I think that really helped me win the match.
Brian, do you have one more for us?
Just one more for Coach, if I could. Coach, Bruce was obviously broken up, last night with what happened to the men, but the fact that the men were there tonight, huge thing. What is your take on the state of University of Texas tennis right now, both the men's and women's program combined with your facility and everything else that you've been putting?
It's all, at the end of the day, I mean, obviously you look at the results. Bruce was in the Final Four. They won the national title the pre-COVID year. We just won the national title. So that's sort of a little bit what stares you in the face. But I think it's really all about the people at the end of the day. It's so lovely to be at a school where the guys' team and the ladies' team are really friendly. The coaches get on well. We're supportive of each other, which was evidenced. Our girls would like to claim helping Bruce's guys in the doubles point the previous 3 nights because they'd be there. But it comes down to the people, and I know I obviously don't know Bruce's guys like super well, but what I do know is that they're classy, lovely people, and I know the ladies on our team. And that's sort of what I said to the ladies before yesterday's semifinal and then again today, is just that we really have lovely people. I told them that before the round of 16. I said, we have just lovely people on our team, and so we've already won. Now let's be greedy and try to actually win the trophy. But and everyone got that part, but it's the case that we've got great people, and as long as we continue to get great people, we've got an administration that's supportive of us. We've got phenomenal facilities. We've got a city that is maybe the city these days in the United States, and so Texas tennis, men and women, is in excellent shape.